Let's discuss about variety of life, the five kingdom classification. All living organisms are classified into five kingdoms: animals, plants, fungi, protoctists, and prokaryotes. So all the living organisms are classified under these five kingdoms. First, let's look at the animal kingdom. Animals are multicellular organisms. They cannot make their food, so they have to obtain their food either by eating plants or other animals. So therefore they are called heterotrophs. If you consider animal cells, these cells have a nucleus, but there are no cell walls or chloroplasts, and also large vacuoles are not present. Most animals can locomote, which means they can move from place to place. They store their carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. Examples of animals are birds, mammals, insects, so on and so forth. The plant kingdom. Plants are also multicellular organisms. They also have cells with a nucleus, and also they have chloroplasts containing chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment. So plants are called autotrophs because they can carry out photosynthesis and therefore they are making their own food. Plant cells have cell walls made of cellulose. These cells store carbohydrates in the form of starch. Plants do show movements, but they cannot locomote. Most plants have roots, stems, and leaves. They have a spreading shape to capture more light in order to perform photosynthesis. Examples include flowering plants, ferns, mosses, etc. Long time ago, mushrooms, toadstools, and moles were classified under plants, but now they are separated under a separate kingdom called fungi. Their body is usually organized into a mycelium made from thread-like structures called hyphae. These hyphae contain many nuclei. They have cell walls made with a substance called chitin. They cannot make their own food. Then how do they find their nutrients? They are saprophytes, which means they secrete digestive enzymes outside their body onto food material and they absorb the nutrients after digestion. How do they reproduce? They reproduce by making spores. Most of the time, their main body, the mycelium, is microscopic. Even though we get to see these mushrooms coming out of the ground, they do have a huge network of mycelium under the ground. Some fungi are unicellular like yeast, but most fungi are multicellular. Some fungi are useful to us, such as we can eat some of them as our food, and yeast is a widely used fungi in bakery industry and also to make ethanol. We all know that the very first antibiotic to be discovered was penicillin. Penicillin is also made from a fungus. Some fungi are also harmful to us. Why? They cause food decay. We cannot keep our food for a long time because they act on our food and they start decaying. And there are few fungi that cause diseases like athlete's foot. The next kingdom is protoctists. This kingdom contains a mixed collection of organisms. Most of them are unicellular and they do have a well-organized nucleus. They may have a cell wall or they may not have a cell wall. They might have chloroplast or some might not have chloroplast. So if they have chloroplast, they are autotrophs. If they don't have chloroplast, they are heterotrophs. Some are plant-like organisms with chloroplasts and cellulose cell walls, And some are animal-like organisms who feed on organic matter made by other organisms. So examples for plant-like protoctists is Chlamydomonas, and amoeba, paramecium are like animal-like organisms because they are heterotrophs. The next kingdom is called prokaryotes. Bacteria and also blue-green algae are included into this kingdom. They are usually unicellular. The most important feature that we should remember is these cells do not have a nucleus. They have a cell wall, but it's not made up of cellulose. It's made up with a substance called peptidoglycan. These bacterial cells do not have mitochondria or any other membrane-bound organelles. So they only have ribosomes in their cytoplasm. They don't have mitochondria or any other membrane-bound organelles like eukaryotes. They do have DNA present, but it's found freely in the cytoplasm. Some bacteria have a slime layer or a capsule, and some have a special structure called plasmids. Some have flagella for movement. Some bacteria can carry out photosynthesis. This is the typical structure of a bacterium. You can see it has a cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm. In cytoplasm, you can see DNA not organized into a nucleus, so it is sometimes called nucleoid. Apart from that, you can see a plasmid, a small circular DNA, which is found only in bacteria. And this structure also shows a flagellum, which is used for movement. Apart from cell wall, outside the cell wall, they have another structure. Some bacteria have a capsule. It is for their protection. So bacteria are classified according to their shape. In this diagram, you can see three shapes: round shape, rod shape, and spiral shaped bacteria. So round shaped bacteria are called cocci, rod shaped bacteria are called bacilli, and coil shaped, spiral shaped bacteria are called spirilla. Some bacteria are useful because they contribute a lot to the continuation of nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is basically driven by different types of bacteria involved in different stages. Some bacteria like lactobacillus are very important because they help us to make yogurt and cheese. Some bacteria also cause us diseases such as pneumonia and tetanus. Bacteria are believed to be appeared first on this planet as the oldest known fossils are of them. Bacteria are found everywhere, including the air, soil, water, on our bodies. But apart from that, they are found in very special places such as hot water springs, mountain ice caps, and even deep underground. So they are basically found in all possible habitats on this planet.